Okay, so I have achalasia, and if you Google achalasia on... I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. I always call it achalasia, but I'm pretty sure it's achalasia. It is a rare disorder making it difficult for food and liquid to pass into the stomach. My story with it was the first time that I noticed symptoms. I was with my friend Mary at a play, and we were seeing my friend Abby in December of 2018. And I remember the whole time my throat would not stop making these weird ass noises. And me and my friend Mary were like laughing the entire time during this like serious show. I go home to my mom, I tell her about it. She's like, oh, you probably just have acid reflux. It's not a big deal. Progressively, those throat gurgles got worse. They sound like this. As time passed, I remember it just getting progressively worse, and I started getting a new symptom, which was I couldn't swallow things. And it's kind of like the feeling when you're eating something breaded, like a chicken nugget, and you don't chew it enough and it's stuck in your throat. And there's nothing you can really do except for wait it out and wait it to pass. But it happened to me often, even if I chewed it or even if the food was liquid. At the beginning, it started with it just happening every once in a while, maybe like once a week. Then it progressed to being once a day, then once a meal, and then a couple times a meal, and then every single bite and every single drink. So I finally got an appointment in October of 2019 to see a GI specialist. They sent me to get a swallow study, which is where you swallow barium in front of an x-ray, and they saw that I had a very abnormal esophagus, but they didn't know what was up still. So then I was sent to get an endoscopy in November, which then brought me to get this throat motility clinic, and I had to do this thing where I swallowed a tube down into my stomach while I was conscious and gurgled salt water for 2 hours. So after all those tests, I finally got diagnosed with achalasia. And after I got diagnosed in February, my symptoms were still pretty mild. It was very uncomfortable to eat, but other than that, I was pretty much fine. I was still able to drink. It was March when everything just went to poo. I mean, I could not drink water without throwing it up. I could not eat stuff without throwing it up into the sink. And it's not like it's throwing up. It's sitting in your throat, so you just kind of like spit it up. On April 20th of this year, they told me we have a spot for you to get a myotomy, which was really good news. I had to go up to Seattle. I live about 30 miles south of Seattle, so I had to go up to Seattle and get that done. Basically what happened was they were using the results from my February test, which was the throat motility test, to do my surgery, and it turned out to be a lot more complex than usual. So after the surgery, I have to go on a 1-month liquid diet, but instead I now have to go on a 3-month liquid diet. And I'm kind of coping with it. I can do a video about my liquid diet, but I'm not going to get into that. The surgery, what they do is they make 5 incisions like this, and one of them is in your belly button. Mine have pretty much healed, not completely, and my belly button's kind of bruised still. And they just go up and mess around with your esophagus, but again, it turned out to be a lot more complex than planned, and I had to stay at the hospital for 5 nights. And those 5 nights were probably the worst nights of my life, which is probably means I have a very fortunate life, but I was in the most pain I've ever been. And they just kept telling me, like, you have to do all these things before you have to go home, and you have to get up and walk around, and I was just in so much pain, and I was so stressed that one of the nights I was there around 2 a.m. I started having a panic attack. And the thing about this surgery is it tightens your chest a lot, so laughing, coughing, sneezing, crying, hyperventilating will be extremely painful. So when I have panic attacks, you know, I'm breathing very heavily, I'm crying, and it was so incredibly painful. It was 2 a.m. and during that panic attack they decided that my IV was in the wrong place, so they had to replace it, and that was just a very scary moment in my life. I've also met people like through this disease. So there's this girl named Ellie, and she has it, and she just got her surgery on Tuesday, and we have a lot of things in common, including achalasia, and she is very strong. I think if you ever come across someone with achalasia, some things to avoid are, don't tell them to wash it down with water, because people don't understand that water gets stuck too. And I did get a surgery, so I can pretty much eat and drink normally, other than the fact I'm on a liquid diet. but there are still some things that I have to take in precaution for the rest of my life. I am already a vegetarian, but they recommend to stick to a plant-based diet because chewing meat is very hard to do. Anything I eat, I have to chew at least 10 times. It basically has to be liquid when it goes down, otherwise it could puncture my esophagus and be really serious. I can never chew gum, probably ever in my life, because if I were to swallow that gum, it would kill me. I can't take pills for 2 years. Anything I want to take is liquid. I'm on birth control and I have to switch to a chewable tablet. And I haven't tried that yet, but I'm sure it's going to be absolutely disgusting. I just want to say a lot of people don't give me very much empathy for this, which I'm not asking for your empathy, but I'm just saying, like, be aware that everybody's going through their own thing, and this has been very hard on me, a lot more hard than it looks. And I always make it seem like a joke. I remember when I have to like get up and jump around, and everybody always thought it was really funny. And like, it was funny, but it was also extremely painful, and it was really, really hard to live with. This surgery doesn't tend to last forever. I'm probably gonna have to get it again. I don't know how I got this. I don't know how it happens. I haven't had it my whole life. I got it in 2018 is when my symptoms started, and I got diagnosed in February. So I'm not an expert about this, but I'm just letting you guys know my story and my experience. And from somebody who doesn't have it, I'm sure it doesn't look like that much, and it doesn't seem like it's that bad, but it's honestly, it changed my relationship with food. You know, it's never really gonna go away. It's lifelong, it's chronic. But I just want to try to stay positive. I don't really talk about it that much. That's why I put out this huge rant video, because so many people ask me, why'd you get surgery? Like, why can't you eat? Why are you on a liquid diet? And so that's why I wanted to make this video. I don't know if anybody